All right, guys. So getting into that showdown slate for tonight, we got the Vikings versus the Redskins. Now, obviously, I think that the Vikings are going to win, and you could easily just play their defense in the captain spot. But the player that we're going to want the most, I think, would be Dalvin Cook. This is an easy matchup. We're predicting that the Vikings are going to be up, so then we'd want to play Dalvin Cook. Obviously, he's been a stud, and my typical strategy of playing a value play in the captain spot might not work out today, just because Cook and even Stephon Diggs could really go off in this matchup. So I am kind of a little bit worried about that. Definitely want to try to get Dalvin Cook into my captain spot. If you think this game's going to be a blowout, then Mattinson might not be a horrible play. I don't love it, though. Obviously, Kirk Cousins, revenge game, going back against the Redskins. Their pass defense is horrible. He could easily hit on a couple of deep balls. If we get a Cousins to Cook connection, that would be ideal. But I definitely love those two plays. Obviously, Stephon Diggs without Adam Thielen, that's a play that we really do love. He's went off each of the last 2 weeks. You could easily play him in the captain spot. The only worry is that we got old BC Johnson here. BC Johnson, if you guys remember from the preseason, I actually compared him to Diggs. So I thought if Diggs was out, that Johnson would be a sneaky, kind of DFS play. But actually, it's Adam Thielen who's out. Diggs and Johnson are kind of more of a similar skill set, but I still really like him as a play. He is kind of priced up a little bit more than I thought he would. DK did a great job on that, but I'll touch on the full slate later on. He's a nice play there. But still, I really like him as a play for DFS this week, especially in the showdown slate going against Washington. The target should there. He should easily hit value. It's just whether or not he goes off. Do really like Terry McLaurin, but I'm not really sure if we can play him. I already touched on the Vikings D. If you can fit him into your build, you should. I'm not going out of my way overly to play him, though. I really do love Irv Smith. A lot of people are going to go straight to Kyle Rudolph, which I'm not saying is wrong, but I'm going to take the ownership leverage tonight and go with Irv Smith instead. They've been trying to play him, much like Dallas Goedert, for the Eagles. They've been trying to play two tight end sets quite a bit more recently. You saw 6 targets last week, which were good for 11 DK points. Really don't mind that play. Trey Quinn, if you're trying to run it back, don't mind that play as well. He's certainly priced appropriately. Don't mind that. So Wendell Smallwood, here's a play that's interesting to me. So if Adrian Peterson's out, you just got to lock him in. He's going to be the go-to guy there. But if Adrian Peterson's not, Smallwood's going to be a lot lower owned. But if we're projecting this game to be a blowout, Smallwood's going to get a ton of work. He's going to lead the Redskins in snaps. So I'm kind of hoping that AP is rolled in. That way we can play Wendell Smallwood at a much lower ownership. And he's going to get used a ton in the passing game, going to get a ton of receptions and targets. So I really do like that play. And if AP is out, Craig Reynolds will hold some value. He's a $200 punt at that point, which I really don't mind. You guys know I like those punt plays down there at the value side. If you want to play Case Keenum, run it back in the revenge game, don't mind that. Really don't mind Terry McLaurin. I do think he could really go off in this matchup. I'm not too worried about that, but the ideal build that I made was Wendell Smallwood in the captain spot to try to, make work the rest of the Vikings players that I wanted to get into the build ideally. So this would be kind of the single entry lineup that I'd run out there if I wanted to do that. Obviously, you can stack it a few different ways. But yeah, that's going to be the one I'm going to roll with for the showdown slate. Now we got the full slate lineup here. So I do want to touch on it real quick, because obviously I'm going studs and duds approach there at the receiver spot. So Ryan Tannehill at the quarterback spot going against Tampa Bay. So the only reason why I like that play is because Tampa Bay is really good against the run, and they're not so good against the pass. Obviously, Ryan Tannehill looked really good last week, and all we really need from him is going to be, around 15 DK points. Then we have Chase Edmonds there. This is kind of a wait-and-see approach. If he's out, you could easily pivot to someone like Latavius Murray if Alvin Kamara is out. But Chase Edmonds, as the lead running back, will easily top 15 DK points at his price point. That's just not enough for the amount of touches that he's going to get. We get Ty Johnson priced down pretty low because of that Kerryon Johnson news that came out a little bit later on. We know Ty Johnson's going to get around 15 touches. He'll get used in the passing game. He should have a floor of at least 8 DK points, and then it's just going to go up from there. Whether or not he scores a touchdown, maybe scores 2, but I do think he'll get used quite a bit in the passing game. And then we got Hopkins, Thomas, Diggs, all right there. All going to be great plays. They should all see around 7 targets or more, all in great spots. I really do like those plays. Obviously, I like Michael Thomas a lot more if Drew Brees is there. Do want to touch on BC Johnson. As if you wanted to, you could stack the Minnesota game in the full slate, actually. Johnson is priced at $3K on the full slate, okay? For a guy that's going to be the receiver number 2 in the Vikings offense, that's really appealing. All he really needs is 7 DK points to hit value, and he could easily score. Heck, he could go for 20 DK points. We saw him do well in the preseason. We know that they like him, so I really don't mind that play for the full slate. And then also, Irv Smith is priced really cheap. I put him in a couple of GPP builds on the full slate just because he's so cheap, makes it easy. But the tight end that I want the most on the full slate and on the main slate is actually going to be Jacob Hollister. He did get a little bit of a price bump, but a lot of people might not notice this. He actually led the Seahawks in tight end snaps, in targets. He had 5 DK points last week. I think he's only going to, get more targets and get more playing time now that Will Dissly's out. And the more time that he gets with the team, that's just going to mean more playing time for Jacob Hollister. If you guys remember back, I think it was 2 years ago, the Patriots beat reporters were loving this guy. They were calling him Baby Gronk. He lit it up for us. I think it was 2 years ago. He was like a lock play for preseason DFS 2 years ago. He actually got cut by the Patriots last year, got picked up by the Seahawks 2 weeks ago. And then, obviously, with Will Dissly out, he was the main tight end there in that group. So at that price point, I really don't mind it. The matchup's good. We do want to attack that matchup, and that's the way I'm going to be doing it. And then Benny Snell Jr., obviously we have to wait and see if he's going to be playing or not, or if James Conner is going to be playing or not. If James Conner sits, Benny Snell is going to be a great play. If not, I'll probably just drop down the defense and then, probably go to the 1.5K and then just pick up, Murray or someone if I have to go that route.